2025 is the most important season in Texas Tech football program history. I'm not telling Joey McGuire anything he doesn't know. I'm not telling Baron Morton anything he doesn't know. The expectations are there, whether that's because of the immense amount of financial backing this program currently has, the new facilities, or Texas Tech landing one of the most historic transfer portal classes in modern college football. The expectations for the Red Raiders in 2025 are at an all-time high. And in today's video, I'll tell you why the Texas Tech Red Raiders will win the Big 12 in 2025. Hey, how's it going, everybody? It's RC Maxfield here for the Red and Black Report. Appreciate y'all tuning in to all the content we've got here on the channel. If you want to be a part of the largest group of Texas Tech fans, look no further. This is the place for you. All I ask you to do is hit that subscribe button. All right. I understand what a lot of people are going to say by this video. I understand. It's hype season. It's the summer. Of course, it's hype season. Well, I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. Everything I say in today's video in terms of expectations for Texas Tech, I truly believe. So the title of this video reads as follows: Texas Tech will win the Big 12 in 2025. I believe that. Now, this could make me look like a fool here in about 4 months, or I could look like a genius, right? Which, again, a blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while, right? But I will bring some cold, hard facts as to why I think Texas Tech will win the Big 12 in 2025. But before I do, I want to hear from you guys. You tell me down on the pinned comment below, will Texas Tech win the Big 12 in 2025? Just a simple Y for yes or in for no. And when I say win the Big 12, it can be regular season or in Arlington. Maybe you think they win both. Let me know down below if you think Texas Tech will win the Big 12 in 2025 with a simple Y for yes or in for no. All right. I kind of want to start with a baseline here in terms of what do you need to be as a team to win the Big 12, at least over the past 5 years, okay? And a lot has changed in the Big 12. We know that. You had multiple ways of conference realignment, but now you're steadfast. Now you look at the Big 12, and it is known as almost America's League because of how entertaining it is and how each and every week it's kind of like rolling the dice. You never know what you're going to get, okay? But these are some things when you look at the past 5 winners of the Big 12 that tell us, okay, typically this team is going to win, okay? At least they have a very good chance to win or at least play in Arlington, okay? The past 5 Big 12 champs have had a top 5 defense, with 4 of them having a top 3 defense. The lone team out of the last 5 to win the Big 12 that did not have a top 5 defense was actually this past season with Coach Dillingham's squad out in Tempe, where the Arizona State Sun Devils actually had the 6th or 5th best defense, not top 3, but they had the 5th. So they still meet that criteria, right, in terms of top 5 defense. Now, when you look at the offensive side of the football, this is where things get a little interesting because much like the defense, the offense, you had to be in the top 5, except for Kansas State, where when they won the Big 12 a few years back, they were actually the 6th best offense in the Big 12. So really what we're looking at here is if you go over the last 5 years, which is a pretty solid sample size, you need to have a top 5 offense and top 5 defense. Full stop, right? Well, I think Texas Tech is going to have that this year. Let's go ahead and look at the Texas Tech projected 2-deep depth chart in the preseason. Camp is starting this week. We're excited as hell, right? You look at some of these guys, and I intentionally did not put some of these guys in their Texas Tech jerseys because I wanted you to see the amount of talent Texas Tech went out and acquired in the transfer portal at key positions, most notably at the left tackle spot where you have Howard Sampson, a guy that has played at North Texas. He also played for Mac Brown over at North Carolina. He is back in the Lone Star State, and he is viewed as one of the premier tackles in the Big 12. Easily top 5, in my opinion. Is he the best left tackle in the Big 12? I think it's a conversation, but he is not the best tackle. That is at Utah. He is in the mix in terms of best left tackle, though, as the best tackle in the Big 12 is the right tackle for Utah. Now, you add some serious speed in Reggie Virgil, who is a guy that has a high 4.3, low 4.4 type 40. You bring back a guy in Micah Hudson. You got Caleb Payday Douglas. You got John Carlos Miller II, Terrence Carter Jr. Then you've got Quinton Joyner, a guy from Manor, Texas, and you replace a Manor running back with another Manor running back. Joyner transfers in from USC. But maybe the most important aspect of all here is you have Baron Morton coming back, number 2, and he has a healthy shoulder, and he is surrounded by easily, and I mean easily, the most amount of talent he has ever had in the Scarlet and Black. Now, again, losing Taj Brooks hurts. But when you look at the overall landscape of this roster from an offensive perspective, this is easily the most talented offensive unit Texas Tech, has had in the past decade, period. And most notably on the offensive line, because you have Howard Sampson, who I mentioned earlier. Hunter Zambrano was one of the most highly coveted offensive linemen coming up from the FCS ranks at Illinois State. He comes in, he is going to play a major factor, and he is a pro-type offensive lineman. You bring back Davon Carter, who is one of the better guards, albeit smaller guards, but one of the better guards in the Big 12. Sheridan Wilson, ton of starts. And then you have a mountain of a man at left guard as well, and Will Jados alongside Howard Sampson, who literally invented the term mountains with how large he is. The playmakers are there. The quarterback is healthy, though. And that is the biggest difference maker for me, because when you look at Texas Tech the past 2 years, it felt like they left a lot on the bone, right? Specifically that TCU game last year where what happened? Baron Morton got hurt. Your defense has to be better, and we'll talk about that here in just a second, but your offense is really deep this year, and it's deep at a position group that you have simply not had the amount of talent you need to win a conference title, and that is the offensive line. You now have 9 offensive linemen where you feel comfortable if they are in the game at any given time. Hopefully you won't have to use those guys. Hopefully you can just use those starting 5 that you're projected to start in game 1 against Arkansas Pine Bluff for the entire 12-game slate. But if you do, you have the most amount of talent you have had on this offensive line in easily a decade if you were the Red Raiders. And that is huge why I'm so high on Texas Tech. Now, the next one is the defense, because I think when you look at this Texas Tech defense, as I struggle getting it on the screen for you guys, this is the big difference maker. I don't know the last time Texas Tech was a defense-first team. In 2025, they will be. And it starts with those 4 gentlemen on the defensive line: David Bailey, Lee Hunter, Skylar Gill-Howard, and Romello Height. You also have Charles Esters III, Jaden Cofield, A.J. Holmes, Terrell Tillman. You feel really good about your defensive line. You have legitimately on that starting defensive line easily 3 pro prospects, maybe 4, depending on how you view Skylar Gill-Howard. A.J. Holmes is really good as well. This defense is star-studded at every level. And I'm hesitant to say that, but it's the truth. You got Bryce Pollock, a guy that was a top 10 corner in the SEC, according to Pro Football Focus. Mo Horn was really the only bright spot you had last year in your secondary for long stretches of time outside of Chapman Lewis, who unfortunately won't be playing a majority of this season due to a leg injury he sustained in the bowl game against Arkansas last year. But you look at this and you have a star at linebacker, right? Obviously, Jacob Rodriguez, the preseason Big 12 Player of the Year. David Bailey, Lee Hunter, Romello Height, Mo Horn, Bryce Pollock. I love the addition of Cole Wisniewski as well at the free safety spot. You are a defensive team first, and you are defensive loaded in the trenches. The Big 12, simple and plain, people, does not have a lot of great defensive line talent. It just doesn't. When you look at Texas Tech, I think it's fair to say they have easily 3 of the top 6 defensive linemen in this conference. And if somebody tells you otherwise, I would love to hear their argument, because David Bailey is the best defensive lineman in the Big 12, in my opinion. Okay, he's going to be a first-round pick in the NFL draft next year. Feel pretty confident in saying that. Can things change? Obviously, but the talent is there for him to be one. Lee Hunter, top 5 defensive lineman on the interior in the entire country, in my opinion. And well, at least a guy that's going to get drafted next year, and I think probably in the middle rounds, probably 2nd or 3rd round, Lee Hunter. Romello Height, he's proven. He's got a motor on him. He has everything he wants in front of him in terms of plenty of games to play and making sure he has a resume to be an NFL starting caliber defensive edge, right? Like that's a guy that what he wants to be. And he has the opportunity. There is no one in the Big 12 that has this much talent on their defense. Full stop, period. Okay? Now you have to go out and do it. And it's a reason why. I think this is the main reason why I think Texas Tech will win the Big 12 in 2025. Their defense. This is a defensive team. Baron Morton, in my opinion, needs to be a game manager. Some of y'all are going to hear that and say, oh, RC, that's really harsh on Baron Morton. No. I mean that in a best way possible, where he's surrounded by so much talent, both offensively and defensively. His only job is to make sure he gets the ball to playmakers in space and really not put Tech in a bad position defensively. That's it. He can still hoop. He's still going to show you that he's a star. He's going to show you that he's one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the Big 12. But the reason being that this team is going to dominate, in my opinion, is the defense. Again, I think this defense is absolutely star-studded, okay? Let's go ahead and look at, well, if I can get it on your screen for you real quick. There we go. We'll go ahead and look at this. 10-2. That's what I have Texas Tech going this year, okay? You see it on your screen. I have my prediction video in terms of everything you need to know, game-by-game analysis here on the channel already, but I think Texas Tech goes 10-2 this year. I think they win the Big 12. I think they play in Arlington, and I think they go to the college football playoff. I truly believe that, because the Big 12, it's any given week, really, when you look at it, right? But what wins in the Big 12 year in and year out? It is teams that dominate the trenches, and Texas Tech went out and they addressed the trenches better than any team in the Big 12 by a country mile, okay? They went out and they got 2 of the 4 best defensive linemen in the transfer portal, maybe 6 if you go to add Romello Height. You got 3 of the top 6 that were added. I mean, shoot, David Bailey's the best defensive lineman in the Big 12, at least pass rusher in my opinion. Lee Hunter is the best interior defensive lineman, and then you add Skylar Gill-Howard. The Big 12 is wide open. I mean, you look at the odds and you have Kansas State at plus 500, Texas Tech plus 550, Utah plus 600, Baylor plus 650, Arizona State plus 650. Like, there's 5 teams that they have plus 650 or lower odds in terms of between plus 500 and plus 650. There's 5 teams. I think Texas Tech deserves more in terms of the praise that they're getting, because I get it. You got to learn those nuances. You have to learn your teammates, because there's a lot you have to learn with new faces in the building. I get it. But this is easily the most talented Texas Tech team that the Red Raiders have had in a decade. And I think from a sheer talent perspective, the best team in the Big 12. And I think Joey McGuire and crew prove that each and every given Saturday in the Big 12. And the Red Raiders play in Arlington and win the Big 12 title in December. All right. You've heard some of my cases. Again, what you needed to know, looking at the team itself, my prediction in terms of the record, how we got there, right? But overall, I want to hear from you guys. Will Texas Tech win the Big 12 in 2025? Simple Y for yes or N for no. Let me know down on the pinned comment below. And while you're down there, if you haven't already, be sure to like the video and hit that subscribe button. It's the best way to support the channel. If you want 100% free Texas Tech content all year long, this is the place for you. It's 100% free. All I ask in return is that you like the video and hit that subscribe button so we can continue to grow this podcast channel and get as many Red Raider fans in here as possible. All right, that's going to do it for today's video. I'm RC Maxfield for the Red and Black Report, reminding you, as always, to stay safe and wreck 'em Tech.